any honored guests, and my brothers. I'd like to start with a quote from one of my diocesan brothers. That is hero time. On a more serious note, I like to talk about my pre-degree. New men. Father is a priest of the Diocese of Des Moines, Iowa, and was one of the spiritual directors at SJV last year and years prior. He retired this past year, and his presence is greatly missed around the seminary. But his retirement has given me a chance to truly honor a man who has changed my life and the lives of my brothers. When first meeting Father Acree, the man doesn't look like much. Pretty much your standard old priest with kind of a hunch, going around speaking Latin randomly. Actually, he spoke Latin so often, we used to joke that maybe it was his native tongue. But beneath this humble and unassuming surface is a priest of great love for the young men he served. This love was communicated in a number of ways, but I will limit it to three: his masculinity, his affirming disposition, and his challenging nature. Firstly, his masculinity. Despite looking like a frail old man, Father Acree is a tank. For example, my second year, the man broke a Bowflex, which I'm pretty sure is not metaphysically possible. Also, when he was a seminarian, his job was building interstate highways. So while we were busy this summer getting fat in rectories, he was laying down asphalt and concrete for I-35 in 100-degree weather. But besides these external manifestations of masculinity, Father Acree exemplified this virtue of manliness in its essence, which is sacrifice. Everything he did was for the men of the seminary. He was a man who would run himself ragged for his sons of SJV. This essence of sacrificial love was apparent in his prayer life. He had a list on his door for Mass intentions, so every Mass he said was never for his own intentions, but for the intentions of the men of SJV. Father Acree was also big on helping men realize their own masculinity. He sought to inspire us to be true men of God, to realize that selfishness is boyhood, and a true man lays down his life for his brethren. Secondly, his affirming nature. He could always be seen before Holy Hour talking to guys standing off by themselves or taking a random group of guys out to brunch on Saturday. He really sought to help out the little guy, to seek out those men on the fringes who are not in the limelight, so to speak, of SJV. One tangible example is that he would send emails to those men who were not elected trainers or RAs after the interviews and elections, which included myself after my first year. He told us men to not think for a second that just because we were rejected a leadership position does not make us leaders. He told us that everyone leads all the time, for better or for worse. He gave his attention to everyone that needed his attention, and he loved us all the same. He made sure that each individual was built up to build up the seminary as a whole. More importantly, he helped men get rid of shame. Shame from our sins, from our past, from our vices. He encouraged us not to dig around the garbage dump of our souls. He drew me out of conversations with the devil that I was nothing and that I was hopeless and that I was alone in my sins. Where society tells us to keep these vices in the dark, Father Acree helped me and my brothers live in the light and to tackle these repetitive sins head on